At this point, I think I know more about manufacturing than anyone currently alive on Earth. Well, I think it's very important for there to be an inclusive arena for free speech, where all, yeah. Twitter has become kind of the de facto town square. It's just really important that people have both the reality and the perception that they're able to speak freely within the bounds of the law. So one of the things that I believe Twitter should do is open source the algorithm, and make any changes to people's tweets, or if they're emphasized or de-emphasized, that action should be made apparent, so anyone can see that action has been taken. So there's no sort of behind the scenes manipulation, either algorithmically or manually. No, I think everyone will still blame me for everything. Yeah, if I acquire Twitter and something goes wrong, it's my fault, 100%. I think there will be quite a few errors, yes.
It will be miserable, but you still want to do it. Why?
I mean, I hope it's not too miserable, but I just think it's important to the it's important to the function of democracy. It's important to the function of the United States as a free country and many other countries, and to help freedom in the world more broadly than the U.S. And so I think it's I think there's the risk, civilizational risk, is decreased if Twitter. The more we can increase the trust of Twitter as a public platform. And so I do think this will be somewhat painful, and I'm not sure that I will actually be able to acquire it. And I should also say the intent is to retain as many shareholders as is allowed by the law in a private company, which I think is around 2,000 or so. So it's not like it's definitely not from the standpoint of let me figure out how to monopolize or maximize my ownership of Twitter, but we'll try to bring along as many shareholders as we're allowed to. This is not a way to sort of make money. I think it's just that I think this is strong intuitive sense is that having a public platform that is maximally trusted and broadly inclusive is extremely important to the future of civilization.
But you've described yourself.
I don't care about the economics at all. In my view, Twitter should match the laws of the country, and really, that there's an obligation to do that. But going beyond that, and having it be unclear who's making what changes to where, having tweets sort of mysteriously be promoted and demoted with no insight into what's going on, having a black box algorithm promote some things and not other things, I think this can be quite dangerous. Well, a top priority I would have is eliminating the spam and scam bots and the bot armies that are on Twitter. I think these fun influence. They make the product much worse. If I had a Dogecoin for every crypto scam I saw, I have more, not 100 billion Dogecoin. But I mean, I should say actually, even originally with Tesla back in the day, funding was actually secured. I want to be clear about that. In fact, this may be a good opportunity to clarify that. Funding was indeed secured, and I should say, why do I not have respect for the SEC in that situation? And I don't mean to blame everyone at the SEC, but certainly the San Francisco office. It's because the SEC knew that funding was secured, but they pursued an active public investigation nonetheless. At the time, Tesla was in a precarious financial situation, and I was told by the banks that if I did not agree to settle with the SEC, that the banks would cease providing working capital and Tesla would go bankrupt immediately. So that's like having a gun to your child's head. So I was forced to concede to the SEC unlawfully, those bastards. And now it makes it look like I lied when I did not in fact lie. I was forced to admit that I lied to save Tesla's life, and that's the only reason. It's difficult to put yourself in the position at the time. Tesla was under the most relentless short seller attack in the history of the stock market. There's something called short and distort, where the barrage of negativity that Tesla was experiencing from short sellers on Wall Street was beyond all belief. Tesla was the most shorted stock in the history of stock markets. Yeah. This is saying something. So, this was affecting our ability to hire people. It was affecting our ability to sell cars. It was terrible. They wanted Tesla to die so bad they could taste it.
Here was one of the thousands of questions that people asked. I thought this was actually quite a good one. If you could go back in time and change one decision you made along the way, do your own edit button, which one would it be and why?
Do you mean like a career decision or something?
Just any decision over the last few years, like your decision to invest in Twitter in the first place, or your anything.
The worst business decision I ever made was not starting Tesla with just JB Straubel. By far the worst decision I've ever made is not just starting Tesla with JB. That's the number one by far.
All right, so JB Straubel was the visionary co-founder who was obsessed with and knew so much about batteries, and your decision to go with Tesla, the company as it was, meant that you got locked into what you concluded was a weird architecture now of this. There's
a lot of confusion. Tesla did not exist in any. Tesla was a shell company with no employees, no intellectual property when I invested, but a false narrative has been created by one of the other co-founders, Martin Eberhard. And I don't want to get into the nastiness here, but I didn't invest in an existing company. We created a company. Yeah. And ultimately, the creation of that company was done by JV and me. And unfortunately, there's someone else, another co-founder who has made it his life's mission to make it sound like he created the company, which is false. First of all, it's important to understand what is Tesla actually accomplished that is most noteworthy. It is not the creation of an electric vehicle or creating an electric vehicle prototype or low volume production of a car. There have been hundreds of car startups over the years, hundreds. And in fact, at one point, Bloomberg counted up the number of electric vehicle startups, and I think they got to almost 500.
Yeah.
So the hard part is not creating a prototype or going into limited production. The absolutely difficult thing, which has not been accomplished by an American car company in 100 years, is reaching volume production without going bankrupt. That is the actual hard thing. The last American company to reach volume production without going bankrupt was Chrysler in the 1920s.
Right. And it nearly happened to Tesla.
Yeah. In order to accelerate the advent of sustainable energy, there must be scale, because we've got to transition a vast economy that is currently overly dependent on fossil fuels to a sustainable energy economy. One where the energy is, we got to do it. All right. So the energy's got to be sustainably generated with wind, solar, hydro, geothermal. I'm a believer in nuclear, as Isabel I think gave a talk about, and then you since solar and wind is intermittent, you have to have stationary storage batteries, and then we've got to transition all transport to electric. If we do those things, we have a sustainable energy future. The faster we do those things, the less risk we put to the environment. So sooner is better, and so scale is very important. It's not about press releases. It's about tonnage. What was the tonnage of batteries produced, and obviously done in a sustainable way. And our estimate is that approximately 300 terawatt hours of battery storage is needed to transition transport, electricity, and heating and cooling to a fully electric situation. Others there may be some different estimates out there, but our estimate is 300 terawatt hours. It's like basically how fast can we scale and encourage others to scale to get to that 300 terawatt hour installed base of batteries.
Right.
And then of course there'll be a tremendous need to recycle those batteries, which is and it makes sense to recycle them because the raw materials are like high grade ore. So people shouldn't think, well, there'd be this big pile of batteries. No, they're going to get recycled because the even a dead battery pack is worth about $1,000. So, but this is what's needed for a sustainable energy future. So we're going to try to take a set of actions that accelerate the day and bring the day of a sustainable energy future sooner.